Well, the pads were popping again today, this time with the Cowboys and the LA Rams. The Cowboys finally getting that real test here in Oxnard, California. Nicole Hutchison alongside Cal Yeomans here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford. This time, no Matthew Stafford. He is out with a back soreness, but just what kind of test did this defense finally get to see?
Well, you got to see a lot of those wide receivers that Matthew Stafford will be throwing the football to, and you got to see it from Jimmy Garoppolo and Stetson Bennett at the quarterback position. I like what we saw from guys like Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell, trying to challenge this cornerback room that's a little banged up at the time, but that's quality reps for guys like Deron Bland, even Keemon Hall, who's fighting for a spot in the nickelback corner slot. There's a lot of opportunity there for that defense to learn from the talent, even when Matthew Stafford's not available. It's unfortunate that a veteran like that has won a Super Bowl behind center wasn't the one throwing the football and kind of leading this offense, but for the most part, I really enjoyed watching these wide receivers and this wide receiver core from the Rams challenge what this Cowboys defense has.
Yeah, and this edge rushing group also got quite a bit of a challenge as well. Donovan Ezeraku with somewhat of a coming out party, just like Jared Verse had last year. What impressed you the most about him?
Well, that's the thing about Jared Verse that we didn't really understand at the point. Of course, he was a high draft pick last year, came out here in the joint practice, just tore up the Cowboys tackles. Then you turn around and you looked at Ezeraku and what he did in camp this year. You said, maybe he could have a day like that. Maybe it could work that way again. And sure enough, it did. He's continued to stack good practice after good practice, and I've loved watching his first step quickness, the way he uses his hands, the way he's able to chop and rip and get around guys. He's starting to piece all of those things together to really show he's one of the best edge rushers, young edge rushers that maybe the NFC East has in store.
Well, a lot of good things here that happened in Oxnard, California, but now we look ahead to the preseason game up next with Mickey Spagnola joining us next.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, joint practice is down here in Oxnard, California between the Dallas Cowboys and the LA Rams. Now all eyes turn to the preseason game that kicks off on Saturday. Nicole Hutchison alongside Cal Yeomans and joined by Mickey Spagnola. And Mickey, now that joint practice is down, I mean, what do you have your eyes on and looking forward to come preseason game?
Yeah, I think that first preseason game after we watch this scrimmage is going to be vitally important for Joe Milton to try to win the backup quarterback job. I think that what he has to do is make sure he's getting the ball out of his hands. He can't stare down receivers, and he's got to be able to have a time clock in his head and going, okay, I either got to throw this pass away or I got to dump it off to my outlet receiver if his first two progressions aren't open. So I think that's one thing that he's got to master. And we got to remember he's only played one NFL game. Yeah. So these preseason games will be vitally important for him.
Absolutely.
Just a second-year player, of course, with that final regular season game matchup against Buffalo. He's facing a lot of the twos in that game. I want to stick in the offensive backfield. The running back competition has been fierce through camp, but you really don't get the best look until the pads come on for that first preseason game. How crucial is it in the same mindset for guys like Jaden Blue, Phil Maffa, Deuce Vaughn to have a big weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, even though they had the scrimmage against the Rams, it was still kind of thumping up. You weren't going to the ground. You really need to have all-out tackle football to evaluate these running backs. And that goes for Javonte Williams, too, who has looked good out here. And by the way, with Miles Sanders dealing with a little of a knee issue, Jaden Blue got some first-team snaps and some first-team looks. And I'll tell you what, he can run between the tackles from what we've seen so far. He's not just an outside speed guy. He has this ability with his speed to accelerate, and I think that's vitally important if you're running through the middle, through the tackles.
I thought one of the telling things about Jaden Blue is Isaiah Stanback said he felt like his vision was the best out of anybody in the running back room, and that's as a rookie early on. We're going to see more of that vision whenever the games actually matter and it's full 11-on-11 tackle football.
Right.
But up until this point, the fact that you've seen that vision is a good thing from Blue.
No, absolutely. And when you're trying to figure out where you're going between the tackles, you got to see it. And he sees it and he hits it. And the other guy, don't go to sleep on Phil Marfa. This guy has got something. I don't know why he went so late in the draft, but boy, I like the way he runs. He's big, he's upright, and he can hit the hole too. So I'll be interested to see how those guys play when it becomes tackle football, something that I think they must have told Malik Hooker, because the other day he was just destroying guys, going to the ground. I said, who told you it was tackle football? And he started laughing. He goes, sometimes you just run into things, right? But the good thing about Malik Hooker, he's been in Matt Eberflus's defense for 4 years when they were both in Indianapolis at the same time.
I want to switch gears to the cornerback room. There's a lot of depth there, and you have to evaluate these guys as well. Who specifically are you looking for out of that room?
Well, I want to see Kyrie Elam continue to do what he's been doing out here. He's working with the ones. He looks good. Now I got to see it in the games. When the lights come on, can you do what you've been doing out here in training camp? And it's imperative that he does, because with the injuries they're dealing with there and guys that haven't played in a while, if he can secure one of those top 3 spots, this will really help this secondary if Trayvon Diggs is not ready to go for the season opener.
Well, a lot of things to continue to see, but we're still seeing some new things out here in Oxnard, California. CJ Goodwin switching jerseys. We're going to talk about that up next here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp.
This segment was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
We're back to wrap things up here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp. Driven by 4, Nicole Hutchison alongside Kyle Yeomans, and being versatile and multiple is the theme for this Dallas Cowboys team. And Brian Schottenheimer talking about how he's cross-training a lot of guys. Of course, Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Lipke. Another guy is now in that mix, CJ Goodwin, Kyle.
Man, that was interesting seeing him flip jerseys, go to the offensive side of the football. He's, of course, played corner throughout his entire time in Dallas, but then you turn around and you see him running wide receiver routes in practice. He's been here for a while. He's been here as a part of the special teams unit since the early 2010s. I mean, almost a decade worth of C.J. Goodwin. We've never seen him do this. So it really was an interesting turn of events, and I enjoyed watching the cross-training continue, and he continues to piece together just why he is on this roster, why he's valuable to this Dallas Cowboys football team, because even if it's not just special teams and he has to be the depth guy at corner, maybe we could sprinkle in a little wide receiver there too. He can do it all.
Does that raise any concerns for you, coming from this coaching staff, would you say, about maybe the depth at this wide receiver room?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think it's more so just trying to cross-train guys and see what's happening, because, and it's a valid question, because a lot of times if you're trying guys out in certain positions, that means you're thin there. But if you think back to who's really stood out in camp so far, it's been those top guys, the CeeDee Lambs, the George Pickens. But we've talked a lot about Jonathan Mingo. We've talked a lot about Trayshawn Holden, sometimes where Josh Kelly has stood out in camp before too. So when you piece it all together, I don't think there's really any worry when it comes to the depth of this Cowboys wide receiver room. I think they're starting to just play around with different ways to utilize guys, maybe even if it's a one-time set or a sort of situational type thing.
Well, they're playing around with guys like Kevontae Turpin as well. It'll be fun to see how they continue to try out new things, because the preseason game happens and kicks off on Saturday. We'll have you live coverage on CBS 11.
I'm about to take this off. Love y'all. Glad y'all could join us. See you again during the season.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.